Hello guys, I am Nidishresh Bagalwadi, your science teacher, Sankalp Learning Solutions. In the last class, we discussed with the concept of our environment. We discussed what is ecosystem and what are the components present in the ecosystem. Like in the lower classes, we used to tell them as living beings and non-living beings. But now we are referring them as biotic and abiotic components. So the interaction between abiotic and biotic component is called as ecosystem. And also we learned regarding the waste, right? Types of waste, how the waste is generated, and what are the problems we are facing because of waste. So this all we learned. And we learned regarding the interaction, the for the living component. For example, if a plant has to live, so there will be interaction with the plant as well as the non-living component like soil, water, then only plant can live. So this interaction is very important. And we learned regarding the food chains, that is the transfer of food from one trophic level to another trophic level. What is trophic level? One step to another step. So here in the biotic components, we learned three subdivisions like producers, consumers, and decomposers. So there will be transfer of food from one stage to another stage, and always producers will be the first trophic level or the first step in all the ecosystems. We discussed regarding grassland ecosystem, how the food chain occurs, how the food chain occurs in pond ecosystem, in ocean or in aquatic ecosystem. So this all we discussed, right? And what is the importance of food chain to maintain the balance in the environment? Food chain is necessary. And sometimes there will be a network of food chain. For example, grass is eaten by grasshopper, grass is eaten by deer, grass is eaten by cow. Okay, so like this, many animals will be having the same source, same producer as their food. So this network of food chain, this many network, different food chains will form a network which is called as food web. Okay, next we learned. Next, today we are going to learn what happens actually in the food chain. Okay, mm, just a minute. Okay. As we were discussing regarding the food webs, so see here, as I said before, so here the plant is there, the plant is eaten by insect, the plant is eaten by, just a minute. The plant is eaten by insect, the plant is eaten by larva, the plant is eaten by the other insect, grasshopper, like that. And then it is eaten by beetle, beetle is eaten by this, beetle is eaten by, sorry, bird is eaten by owl, bird will eat this, our bird will eat this, like that. The organisms are interdependent on each other, and we can see many food chains. So this many food chain forms a food web, right? The next one is trophic level. As I said, food chain is a flow of food energy from one stage to another stage, like from producers to consumer, from consumer to decomposers. When there will be an energy of food, the each step in a food chain is called as trophic level. Each step or each stage in a food chain. Producer is a first trophic level. Primary consumer is second. Secondary consumer is third trophic level, and tertiary consumer is a last trophic level. That is fourth trophic level, right? Since transfer of food energy occurs from producers to decomposers, as the transfer of food energy takes place from one trophic level to another trophic level, the energy decreases. Remember, the energy goes on decreasing when it shifts from one trophic level to another trophic level. That is why always trophic levels will be limited to 4 to 5. It will not exceed after 5 because energy will be decreasing at each trophic level. Okay. Now, so how, as I said, transfer of food energy occurs. So how the transfer of food energy occurs? What actually occurs there? So as you can see here, the first and foremost always will be the producer. The first trophic level will be the producer. So it will be having highest amount of energy. So when the producer is consumed by primary consumer, when the energy is going from one trophic level to another trophic level. So here, first of all, producers prepare its food with the help of photosynthesis. So the solar energy, what they will absorb, among the absorbed solar energy, they will use only 1% of solar energy falling on them. Using that 1%, they will undergo photosynthesis process and then they will prepare their own food. And these producers will be eaten by primary consumer. Now, the transfer of food energy should take place from producers to primary consumer. When during the transfer of food energy, 90% of energy 90% of energy will be lost in the environment, whereas 10% of energy will be shifted or will be transferred to the next step. Now, primary consumer will be eaten by the secondary consumer. So here also, out of 100% energy of primary consumer, 90% will be lost in the form of the 90% of energy will be lost in the environment. Consumer. Now, out of 100% energy acquired by a secondary consumer, again 90% of energy will be lost in the environment. Only 10% of energy will be gained by the tertiary consumer. As you can see, the size of the pyramid or the width here, the width here, this indicates the, the energy. As the trophic level increases, at the last trophic level, you can see very small amount of energy. This indicates that highest trophic level will be getting minimal amount of energy. So usually the higher trophic levels will be the human beings. So what happens, as you can read in the slide over here, during the transfer of food energy from one step to another, that is from one trophic level to other trophic level, 90% of energy will be lost in the environment, whereas 10% of energy will be shifting, will be transferring from one step to another step. Okay. So this decrease in the amount of energy and add on, that is transfer of only 10% of energy, is called as 10% law. It is called as 10% law. So this energy flow in the trophic level will be represented in the form of a pyramid, which is called ecological pyramid. In the ecological pyramid, we can see the transfer of energy from one trophic level to another trophic level. So in the second, this one, just a minute. So here, as you can see in the second image, okay, in the second image, what happens? This is a producer, just a minute. Okay, this is a producer. The producer has 1000 kilocalories of energy. 1000 kilocalorie of energy. So when it shifted, the food energy got shifted from producer to primary consumer. You can see it became 100 kilocalorie. How? 10% of it. That is 10% means 10 by 100 into 1000. Right. So 1010 get cancelled. So you will get it around 10 into 10, that is 100. 100 kilocalorie of energy will be shifted to the primary consumer. Then out of 100 calorie, 90% of 100 calorie will be lost in the environment, where 10% of it will be shifted to the secondary consumer. As you can see here, the secondary consumer got 10 kilocalorie of energy. And at last, tertiary consumer, 10% of 10 kilocalorie. That is 10 by 100 into 10. Okay. So 1, 1, 1, 0. So we will get 1. So finally, tertiary consumer is getting 1 kilocalorie of energy. See here, from 1000 kilocalorie from the first trophic level, the last trophic level got 1 kilocalorie. How much amount of energy will be lost in the environment? How much amount of energy will be utilized? That is why they will say the amount of energy flow, the energy flow decreases from one trophic level to another trophic level. Okay. So this is regarding the energy flow. Next, the next concept is biological classification. Biological classification, or it is called biomagnification. So what is this biomagnification? As you are seeing the different diagrams over here, in the first diagram you can see, okay, in the first diagram, the plants are there. So the plants are will be having what is that, will be sprayed, the crops will be sprayed with the pesticides and insecticides. Okay, those crops are eaten by the cow. From the cow we will get, or we will take the milk, or we will use the milk from the cow, we will drink the milk from the cow. The amount of pesticides or insecticides from the plant will be shifted to the cow. So here the amount or the concentration of insecticides or pesticides which has been sprayed will not decrease. Instead, it will increase from one trophic level to another trophic level. So in the cow, the concentration of insecticides and pesticides increased. Okay. Why? Because these are non-biodegradable substances. And once we will drink the cow's milk, from the milk we will get, our body will get the pesticides and insecticides in a higher concentration than compared to cow. And the mother will feed the baby with the milk. The mother will feed the baby with the milk, and the chemical will transfer to the baby. Like this, there will be a transfer of chemicals from one trophic level to the another trophic level, from one step to the another step. Okay. So like so here, what happens is the chemicals will be transferred from one trophic level to another trophic level. The chemical concentration will not be decreased here. Instead, the concentration goes on increasing. So we know that chemicals which will enter our body, it will not be helpful. They will harm our body. Instead, our body will become the accumulation for these chemicals, which is called as biological magnification. As you can see that in this diagram, the DDT, use of DDT will be used or added in a water to kill the larva, or the mosquito's larva. Okay, when the DDTs are added, so these DDTs or the mosquito's larva will be eaten by the zooplanktons. When the zooplanktons eat it, whatever DDT will be there inside the inside the mosquito's larva. Okay, so that will be entered into the zooplankton body, where the concentration of the chemical increases. So when the zooplanktons are eaten by the small fishes, again the concentration of DDT in the small fishes increases. As you can see, it is 0.00003 ppm, parts per million, in the larva. But as you can see, it is 10 million times more in the eagle. So here, the concentration of the chemicals increases from one trophic level to another trophic level, which is causing harmful for the body of that organism. This process of addition of harmful chemicals into the body of a living organism is called as biological magnification. This is called biological magnification. Okay. The Okay, so like this, what happens actually? The biomagnification occurs in every living organism. So in the next, now in this chapter, we are going to learn the other concept. We are going to learn the other concept. Okay, so where, how we are affecting, how human beings are affecting the environment, how human beings are affecting the environment, what problems we are giving to the environment. So we know that environment is helping us in all its ways, in the best of its way, but indirectly or directly, we are harming it. So how we are harming it? What is the remedy? How we can protect our environment so that it will be available for the future generation? That we are going to study now, right? So just a minute. So as you can see the screen over here, as you can see the screen over here, the next slide, human activity or human intervention in the environment. The first one is depletion of ozone layer. So we know that ozone layer is present in a stratosphere, which is around 50 to 60 kilometer from the earth. So in the stratosphere, the ozone layer is present in between stratosphere and the troposphere. So what does this do? The ozone layer protects us from harmful UV rays which coming from the sunlight, which is coming from the sunlight, right? So due to our activity, due to our extensive use of chlorofluorocarbons, which are used in a refrigerator or the fridges, which are used in a fire extinguishers. So these are indirectly or directly affecting the ozone layer. These are directly or indirectly affecting the ozone layer and causing hole in the ozone, causing holes in the ozone. This hole in the ozone, what is happening? It is disturbing or it is allowing some of the UV rays from the sun to the earth. So this can be prevented by minimizing or alternatively using other chemical or other substance from the chlorofluorocarbon. So we have to minimize the use of chlorofluorocarbon so that the depleted ozone layer can be again get back. Nowadays, we got a news, or nowadays it is famous, it is published in a science magazines that ozone layer depletion or the ozone hole, what is happened, so that is been reduced, the diameter of hole has been reduced by, because the chlorofluorocarbons are not used now in a refrigerator. Instead we are using certain coolants in the refrigerator or the fridges. So like this, we have to minimize the use of the substances which are harmful to the environment. So this is one of the reason for the depletion of a ozone layer. Next, we have managing the garbage we produce. So as we know, in the first slide, we discussed regarding the waste management. What is waste? What are the types of waste? So here we are learning how to manage the waste. So the household waste, which is called as garbage, in that the garbage, some of the garbage will be biodegradable or having the capacity to decay or decompose. Some of the materials is non-biodegradable. It will not decay or decompose. It will be long lasting or immortal. So there will be separate procedure for biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. So garbage, if we leave the garbage like that only, it causes soil pollution, air pollution, as well as water pollution. So that is why garbage should be disposed, should be thrown very properly. So some of the methods which our municipalities or our corporation use are, the first one is landfill. They will take out, they will select a larger area out of the city where they will throw all the trash of the city in that area. The next one is recycling. Recycling, whatever materials can be recycled, those will be recycled back. The next one is production of biogas and manure. So out of the waste, the biogas, or that is a methane, will be produced. That is produced using the anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic decomposition causes the production of biogas, as well as the waste is whatever the waste we'll get from the biogas can be used in the form of a manure. Next one is preparation of the compost for our garden plants. Incineration, burning the waste at a very high temperature using a device or an instrument called incinerator. This is an incinerator. The next one is sewage water treatment. The wastewater, what is there in the household. So all the water is collected, and if it is treated, that water can be used to garden for the gardening purposes. So these all methods can reduce the disposal or can reduce the waste problem. These all are the methods for the good proper waste management. As you can see, the landfills, recycling, production of biogas, and preparation of compost. This is an incinerator where the waste will be burned at a very high temperature. The next one is sewage water treatment plant. So here, from the houses, the sewage water is connected, and it is connected to a main pipe. The first one, it will be having the coarse screens, which will be having the iron bars like this. So the solid materials which are there, it will be separated, only water and the small impurities, small stones will be passed. First, it will be passed to a primary sedimentation tank. In primary sedimentation tank, what happens? The heavy impurities like human waste or the mud or the sand particles will be settled down, and then the water is passed to the aeration tank. So in the aeration tank, the pedals will be there. The pedals will be there, which will be always rotating. The turbine will be there, which will be always rotating. So in the aeration tank, the compressed air will be passed, and it will come in the action of aerobic bacteria, and that water is again sent to the final settling tank where we will get the water, and this water can be disinfected. Disinfected means the infective agent or the microorganism which are harmful present in the water will be killed by addition of chlorine or by incidenting the UV light. Okay, by the action of UV light or the addition of chlorine, the water is disinfected. And here, the whatever waste is collected is will be in the form of a sludge. Okay, the solid mass sludge. Then the water is used for the agricultural practices. And again, which is disinfected water, it is recycled and it is filtrated, and it can be used for drinking sometimes, or it can be used for industrial or agricultural reuse. So this is how the wastewater is treated from the sewage water treatment. Here the main is aeration tank, where the water will comes in contact with the aerobic bacteria. Compressed air is passed, and whatever the sludge or the solid particle will be collected, like human excreta, the excreta of other animals, and the impurities will be there now. That will be used, that will be dried and used as a manure or a compost for the plants. So this is how waste management can be done, and this is how we can prevent the environment from the garbage or from the waste, and we can prevent directly or indirectly the soil pollution, air pollution, as well as water pollution. So this is about the chapter called as our environment. Here we completed the chapter our environment. In the next session, we are going to deal with the new concept. Until that, take care. Have a nice day. Bye bye.